child goes, you go to your lunchroom and you open your lunch box. People make fun of your lunch. That's a microaggression because it's nobody's business to make fun of your food, whatever you're eating. All of these are supposed to be mild slights, daily slights, a little bit of, oh, it's just made in fun, or just joshing. It is not for the other person. It's not about being politically correct. It's about being emotionally sensitive and psychologically sensitive to other person's feelings. There's nothing wrong about doing that. This happens a lot. Sportsmen undergo a lot of these kind of problems. Every day you don't win your game. Someday you lose your game and you walk out, you do your best you can. That doesn't give the right for the other people or the team who's not even played the game, sitting in the stands and trying to make fun of a person who really put the sweat and blood in the field to make fun of that particular person or make a slight at that particular person. He's got even no right because he didn't even do anything. These kind of small things you carry home and then say, the next day the teacher says, why did you not do your homework? Well, this kid gone home with this kind of pain in number one, losing, number two, getting insulted by the rest of the people by all of these slights, and then goes home and he needs to focus on doing math and science and did not submit the next day homework, and then he goes through the next level of microaggression from the teacher, and then he acts up and he said nobody asked the question like why did he act up? They only say that, oh, he did not do his homework, he was being rude, but that is not the cause. People underestimate the effect of microaggression on a daily basis that happens to children. Not only to children, of course, it does happen to adults too. For instance, I have talked about this multiple number of times. What am I supposed to fill in an application form as my ethnicity or race? Many of you pick Asian. Like, why should I pick Asian? I'm not Asian. According to the ethnic the category, I'm not even an Asian. I'm like a South Asian. There is no category for me. I have to put other. What? I am the other? So that is something which is not acceptable. We minimize ourselves to accept it. Why? Because there are a large group of people who are more accepting about this insulting other people or hurting other people. I cannot really change the rest of the world, but I can do one thing. I have this little small group of children whom I can talk to, who may one day at a time, one piece at a time, can change the world a little bit more. It is not, many of these things are not really funny what they think it is funny. Microaggression, effects of microaggressions are like death by 1,000 cuts. It stays with you. It burdens you every day. But you do not know where it just blows up and where it shows up. Oh, is there a single cause for your depression? No. Everything that is happening around me is sometimes the cause for whatever I'm feeling. It's a cumulative effect on the person. I'm not as tall as I am because I wanted to be, or as short as I am because I wanted to be. It is what I am. That does not define me. See, it's very easy to make fun of a person who, like, if you with a lot of mixed communities, when you go there, a child walks in, he's not dressed up to the way you would consider it cool. Why? He's wearing hand-me-downs from somebody else. He's barely had any food for the morning. Who the hell has got the right to make fun of what he's wearing? So this so-called taking a right to make fun of other person or making these kind of statements is not acceptable. Maybe if you know the other person so well that it's a kind of an equal kind of situation, that's different. But a third party who happens to join into that team just because you know somebody who knows somebody and just hanging out with them, suddenly don't gain the right to do the same thing like other person did. So what we think is acceptable in a larger population may not necessarily be acceptable. People are just minimizing themselves and keeping quiet. That doesn't make it right. Like, there are very innocuous kind of situations where microaggression exists, which I've talked to you before. When I say something, of course I do have an accent. I do know that. So when I say something, sometimes emotionally, or sometimes when I'm too fast in my thinking, I say something people don't understand. Agreeable. I do feel for them. But the person comes back and says at that moment, what did he say? No, that is not an acceptable thing, even however good you are, because that other person who said that may know very little about what I am talking about, while I may be the expert in that particular field. So that may look very nice, and the people around him may laugh, but they don't realize what impact that they had on the other person. My simple request is this: each one of you, I want you to bear this in your mind. Of course, nobody is perfect. I might have made the same mistakes before to other people, and I should apologize if when I get to know that, and I need to reflect on it. I'm not saying you would have never done anything called microaggression. Now, that would be not true. Inadvertently, we would have possibly insulted other people or made it hurtful to other person. You could have hurt your own parents because of your own microaggression. Like being even passive aggressive to your parents by not doing something is also a microaggression. So that is something we do. We need to recognize this and be conscious about it, reflect upon it, and make sure that you make amends on a daily basis and help each other get out of it, but not again aggress. So sometimes there are people who are getting receiving end of the microaggression, and they become microaggressors in an environment where they think that they are the better off person. That doesn't make it right. Bullying somebody because I got bullied doesn't make it right. That's not an acceptable norm. I think a future society, if you have to build, you all will have to take this into heart. And all of you, will have to convince, sometimes even the elders, the so-called adults, who may not know better. You might have to remind them that was not really the right thing to say. You could have told this differently.